This is Stella Boothman. I am the project coordinator for Paint the Town 2020. This year we're doing Paint the Town, rebranded as Paint the Town at Home due to lockdown and the coronavirus. And today I am speaking to Steve Crowther, who is one of the artists who have entered Paint the Town this year. And it's his first time doing the event, so I thought it'd be really good to talk to Steve about some of his work and the media that he's chosen to work in for the event. So hiya, Steve.
Hi, good morning.
So Steve's been drawing and painting since about 2008. He works as an education consultant, and he also does a lot of drawing and sketching at home and using an iPad, which is really what we want to talk to you about today.
No problem.
Can I ask you first of all, Steve, when did you start your digital sketching? I know you said you started in 2008 making art and drawing and painting, but when did you actually make that shift to sort of digital? Or has that been from the outset?
No, it's not actually. Looking back at my old sketches, I used to date everything, and I'm looking at around about 2012 when I started using the iPad. I had a really old iPad and a simple Dobber stylus, and the same app that David Hockney used. I thought, if it's good enough for David Hockney, it's good enough for me. And so just had a play around with that, and then took it from there. Really took to it. Some people take to it, some people hate it. So it's one of those things that I sort of really took to.
Great. So, what was the influence, do you think, around digital sketching? Was it seeing people like David Hockney, or was it something you used in a previous life in another area of expertise that you?
Yeah, I think what started me was I used to be a teacher. I used to be a technology teacher in secondary schools, and so I've always sketched with the pupils, and I've always drawn and always used sort of technical markers and computers and computer-aided design and all this sort of stuff and 3D printing. And it sort of lent itself. I thought, I'm a bit of a techie really, and anything with technology I'll have a go at. So before the iPad, I had a simple graphics tablet and a simple painting app on the PC. But the iPad just gives you that convenience of having your whole studio on your knee. So if I want to do oil paints, I can do oil paints, acrylics, I can do watercolors, sketch, all on the knee without getting anything out, without getting messy, without ruining the carpet or anything. So that's really the motivation, and it just took off from there, really.
Right. Okay, that's great. I've noticed when you're doing your paintings, I mean, there's a lot of Steve's work is available on his Facebook page. He's got quite a lot of the digital process of creating a sketch and a painting on there. You do also work in watercolour. I think we should just add at this point. Yeah. I have noticed it's urban sketching mainly. What is it about that particular subject matter that draws you? Because it's really fascinating to watch them unfold on the internet when you've done your recordings of your drawings. So what is it about urban sketching particularly that catches your eye?
I think that came from originally, before being a teacher, I'm a trained engineer, and I like my straight lines and my boxes and things like that. I can't do. I'd love to do portraits, I really would, but I can't. I'll have a go at an animal, but portraits I really can't do, and the buildings sort of fed into my love for sort of engineering really, which has actually been quite a bane in my life as well, because whilst I like the straight lines, I'm trying to get away from them now, because I want to be a lot freer really, but I think I love perspective, because I used to teach how to do perspective, so I quite like all that sort of stuff. I like the sort of technical side of it. And the iPad just gives you a chance to, if you don't like it, you just undo it or rub it out. You've not ruined it if you put a line in the wrong place with ink. It was really the straight lines and the love of boxes. I know it sounds weird.
So it's quite.
If you get a window, it is forgiving, yeah. And if you get and with a building, if you put a window slightly in the wrong place, nobody's going to mind. But if you get an eye wrong in a portrait, it's too much pressure.
I find that really interesting, because I think a lot of people, when they think about making art, I think they're very worried about getting things wrong and making mistakes. I think some people, to the extent where they never pick up a pencil or a paintbrush because of that. And I think it's really interesting to hear you talking about that ability to sort of correct those things as you go along. I think when I've looked at your work, there's quite a lot of softer sort of lines and shapes coming into things like, I mean, you're drawing vehicles, you're drawing kind of trees and things that are within inevitably within an urban landscape you're going to get some of that sort of stuff. So do you feel like you're kind of shifting towards a much more sort of gestural, more relaxed approach to the process than you'd started out at?
I am. I've used this lockdown really to try and develop, not a style, but to try and develop my skills really, and try and experiment. I'm trying to do something every day. I'm a real advocate. If you do something every day, you will get a lot better at it. And this has really fed into my traditional sketches, because I'm doing, at the moment, I'm doing iPad stuff alongside the traditional stuff. What I've found with doing the iPad stuff is that I'm no longer pre-drawing in pencil on my traditional art, because it's given me the confidence to not bother whether something's wrong or not. So I'm going straight in with waterproof ink on traditional drawings. And if it's wrong, if a line's wrong, I don't beat myself up about it anymore like I used to do. I just draw another one that I think is in the right place. I'll leave the first one there. So it really does help. The thing that I think with iPad art is it really does help your traditional art by developing your skills and developing your confidence, knowing that you can undo it, but knowing that you don't actually have to, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That I really like that idea, and I hope it'll encourage people, if they watch this, to have a go and pick something up and have a go. And so I suppose the last thing I was going to ask you about was in terms of urban sketching, which is something that's obviously a theme close to your heart. What would you, whether it's on an iPad, whether it's on using the traditional sketchbooks, I know you're working both, what sort of be your kind of sort of number one piece of advice to people about it who are beginning that process, who perhaps are not as experienced as yourself? Or say somebody tomorrow entering Paint the Town decided to have an approach using either an iPad or a sketchbook and do an urban sketch, what would you be advising that person?
I think if you are thinking about getting into urban sketching, is join the local urban sketching group. Ribble Urban Sketches is the local group right around here, because it's really strange going out on your own and drawing in public. People get really, really, really nervous about people looking at them. But people actually very rarely have anything bad to say, because it's so, I wish I could do that, or oh, I wish I could do that, I can't draw a straight line, which is actually a good thing if you can't draw a straight line. I've learned that through experience. And not be scared about getting it wrong. That's the thing that stopped me for ages, is I'm not doing it because what if it doesn't look like it's supposed to look like? And I've actually learned now that it doesn't actually matter that much really, because I do it as a memory really. All these things on this lockdown stuff that I've been doing to keep me sane as well as build the skills, is that I'm trying to build a memory really, and I'd rather look at a sketch than a photograph, because to look at a view, you've got to really look at it to try and capture it yourself, where you just pick the phone up, take a snap, and you never really see what's in it. You just see the main things, but you see the little things like the odd traffic cone where it shouldn't be, or I like leaving all the street furniture, and it makes you look at things. It's a fantastic thing to do. Just go out and look at your surroundings, because it's amazing what you'll see.
I mean, you kind of covered what I was going to ask you. The last question for this chat we're having was about what making art's done for you during lockdown. And you have talked a bit about that. You talked about doing a sketch every day and making something every day and kind of focusing on things, and it's giving you something to focus on while you're there. But is there anything else you want to add to that? I mean, just generally, I mean, art does lots of things for different people, but I think this is a really strange time we're in at the moment. I know things are beginning to relax slightly, but I think we've a long way to go before things begin to feel like they used to be, if they ever do. I was just interested to see what your perspective was on that as an artist and how that's affected you.
If I didn't have the art, I think it would have affected me quite badly, because I can't just sit down watching television all day. I've got to do something. So I've sort of built a routine really. In the morning I get up and I'll do a little bit. I try and do my iPad stuff in the morning, and then in the afternoon I'll get the sketchbook out and do a little bit of sketch. They don't take long. They're only sort of an hour and a half each. But it breaks everything up. You know, I can't imagine what it would be like if I didn't have something like that to do. Really, it do me head in, I think. Although I am missing other people. I can't wait to get back in the studio. I really can't. So, you know, I am missing all the fellow artists in the studio.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. And you write a blog, don't you, about your studio at Haworth Art Gallery?
I write a weekly blog. Yeah, I haven't done it during lockdown, but as soon as we get back, because I try and feature everybody in the blog as well, just to raise awareness of what we do up at the Haworth, because a lot of people visit the Haworth and don't pop across and see us. We're in a separate building, and it's just nice to let people know what we're doing, and we're all really different in what we do. There's no two people do the same thing, and I think it's just to raise awareness, really, and a good record of the people that have been in there and what their experiences are and what their work at that time has been. It's quite nice to look back over them and see, remember that piece you were doing, and it's quite an interesting thing to do.
Video groups on history, doesn't it? It's quite a nice thing. It's quite a nice way to see your history. So, if people want to find a bit more about you, Steve, what's the best place for them to look for work done by you, and maybe how they can buy and work from you and things like that? Where do they need to go?
Probably my Facebook group, Steve Crowther Art on Facebook. I've got an Instagram, Steve Crowther, as well. I have a web page, but like everybody else, web pages tend to get a bit neglected these days for social media. But I am Steve Crowther Art, www.stevecrowtherart.com, but I'm not as disciplined with that as I am with these sketches I've been doing.
Fair enough, right. That's great. Thank you very much for your time. I really look forward to seeing what you make for the event tomorrow, and good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it.